Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake, Chats 2017, and I'm going to get freaky on you. Ready? We're going to talk about aliens. It's stuff that I haven't spoken freely about ever because it hasn't been time. Want to talk about it? I'm going to give you the personal stuff, and you can believe it or not, I don't care. I've had contact with these entities since I was a child. I encountered them first in a restaurant. This energy has knocked on my door energetically since then. I've described it as magnetic. It has a magnetic quality. It is unhealthy for humans, and it is confounding. It serves to confound. It's like it makes the electrical system all jingled, and it's just not good. And these entities have been around for quite some time, and they're embedded. They're in the human population. I am, so why wouldn't they be? It's a dualistic system. So I'm aware of energies and entities that are obviously in human form, and some who aren't. That's very intense here. And I've always known that they are energy suckers. They need to feed on energy, and the energy they prefer is that of fear, terror. Yeah, it goes way beyond simple despondence or existential angst. No, and they like it. It's what they need to remain healthy. And I mean, at this point, I just want to say, you can believe this or not. It's fine. It's my take. So, and then having had an alien encounter, so to speak, an abduction, and many events that were very, I don't know, angelic or godlike or whatever. Well, it's a lot to sort out, isn't it? So this is what I've come up with. I watched a video a few times. Phil Schneider is a geologist. He was assassinated. He was a civilian geologist who worked on black projects for the government. And he worked on underground military bases, DUMBs. And he spilled the beans. And he talks about the human alien massacre in Dulce, New Mexico. And he's the real deal. He's dealt with this stuff. He's dealt with these beings. But the way that he portrays it in his last video prior to his assassination was it's laced with this sort of panic, with sort of a soul panic. We've got to do something about this. Well, consider it done. Because I've been thinking about this tape and this man and this energy for a while now, and I want to share my thoughts. Yes, there's a presence that is actually infiltrated the super rich. And as a nurse, I dealt with some of the wreckage of this group when I worked with multiple personality disorder diagnosis, women who had been programmed some of them since birth. Their minds broken, their psyches compartmentalized for the pleasure of humans who felt this was appropriate and justified. So yeah, it's real. It's real. MK Ultra, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah. The Illuminati stuff. Oh yeah. Bilderberg, altars, Satan worship, pedophilic rings, all real, all true. You don't have to believe it. And it is dying. It's acting like a vicious dying dog in a corner. You have to even show that you might come toward it to help it, and it's gonna attack. It's that threatened. It knows its lifeblood is leaking from its body. It doesn't have long. Want to know why? It's not some war in heaven, and it's not some divine intervention from angels that are blasting these people, things, entities. Nope. Nope. Phil said so on the video. They consider humans so dumb. Why wouldn't they? They've been feeding off of our fear and terror that they've been able to produce within us quite easily for a really super long time. And it's been convenient. It's been nice. And we're not okay with it anymore as a humanity. We have been functioning under the cloak of forgetfulness. I did a tape called Our Star Origins, and I talked about these entities and how they really are like gnats. They're like pests. And some of the very, very low ones we got rid of. They're gone. But yeah, there are others that stuck around. They didn't have to go because we've been in agreement with them. We've been in treaty with them. We've been getting stuff off of them. We've thought we've been using them. So they, with a collective eye roll, go, yeah, huh. All right, puny human. The only way they can get by with that is if the human doesn't know what they really are. Humans are creator beings. Humans are multidimensional quantum creator beings. And these dinks aren't. They know that. They know that. You can only subjugate somebody who thinks they can be subjugated. Can you imagine the terror they might be feeling as enough of the human population has awakened to a degree that the freaking Schumann resonance on this planet is nearly to 40? That alone destabilizes them. But the Schumann resonance is nothing more than a tracer for humanity's collective raising of vibration, of amperage, of spin, of knowledge, of truth, of recognition of who they are and what they are. We are entangled through the portal of the great central sun to the galactic center. We are those filaments of Creator. And we know these pests are too, but they do not hold the quantum aspect. They are not creator beings. They're creative. But they're not as powerful as we are. And it's been very important for them to ensure we are unaware of our power. And as we begin to realize what our power might entail, how vast it is, and it goes from the subatomic level to the galactic. Oh, really? You want to push that around? You want to try? You'll get dressed down. And we could, before, in little skirmishes and arguments and that, we could exert that kind of, victory. But now we're doing it en masse. And so the last couple days I've just been so relieved. It's over. It's over. Now we just get to see the evidence of what, it may never be revealed, who knows, just how alien this shit is. It may not. Maybe it doesn't need to be. But these energetics and these realities, for me, lifelong, have been a reality. In my face, kind of like, something I have to deal with in my physical reality kind of thing. So it's a really great thing to know, to see that as a result of the gradient shifts, as a result of the increased light quotient, as a result of our increased self-esteem and self-knowledge, there's certain things that just are not going to be okay. And tricking me into a state of terror so that you can feed. It's not going to be okay. It never was. So I do want to give you a couple of tips. It's not so much that you have to protect yourself, but it is important to be mindful. And please understand that I've been a tool for them, I tell you, because I run a lot of light and I'm an amplifier. And so I know about this stuff. When you're flipped into a state of fear, because you can't pay this, that your life is going to fall apart, because your man or your woman has decided to leave you, that your life is going to fall apart, and you swirl in that abyss of despondence. you look at the news and then think about Germany and think about, all of the horror that we've been able to see during the industrialists' reign and become convinced it's going to happen again. When that happens, well, you're not in your core anymore, that's for sure. And I'm talking to Kathy. Can you get back home? Obviously. It's an outside interference. But it assists those who are no longer relevant. And when I say that, I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about the entities which are powerful enough to push things along. And so, I've talked about this split of the personality and the soul. And how a personality can do any number of things, and the soul can be at kind of variance to the signature of the behavior. The soul is creator. We take on this dark stuff as part of the exercise. But let's remember the Kali Yuga is dead. This time of darkness, gone. It's a planet of free will. And I urge you to look at institutions such as marriage, legal contracts, social agreements, agreements about employment, about daily life. How much free will, how much consent is within that endeavor, that institution, those relationships? Are you able to exert your free will? If you don't know, if you have to sit and question that, let me assure you, you're not accessing your free will. You have free will. You. The two eyes looking at my eyes. You are free to do as you wish. Oh, argue. Please. Come on, let me hear it. I'm hearing a few. Oh, yeah. Each and every argument, false. You are a creator being, and one of your main tools is the embodiment of your understanding of your own free will. With free will comes supreme responsibility. How much free will do you have when you find yourself in a long queue, in a long line, getting ready to partially disrobe in order to gain entrance into a method of travel? How much free will do you have in your daily life, with your spouse, with your boss, with your beautiful family, with your friends? How much free will are you able to walk around with? And when do you start being seen as uppity? Too big for your britches. Not a team player. It's a consciousness that's dying. And we are part of this industrial revolution. We've gone far. It has to change now because we have changed. And what was once acceptable to get things done, I have to give you a bit of my free will. Oh, you're going to tell me the timeline for my life, and you're going to tell me the objectives that I must perform to be fully accepted and acceptable. How much free will is in that? Free will, free will, free will. It's at the base of so much of this. So to conclude, I want to ask you, imagine a creator. Imagine somebody who, like Merlin, or somebody who just is a full-on magician, okay? Think of a shaman. Think of Jesus. Think of somebody who can say, oh, there's 2,000 of you and there's only 6 fish or whatever. No biggie. It's all the same. Everybody gets fed. There's a lot of free will there. And there's no one pushing against that free will, was there? Well, not in that particular setting. But in the bigger story, the one that was handed down to us, the state didn't look very kindly on the message that God is within, and that you need to be responsible for being a decent and loving human being who accepts all people. That was the message, you know. I mean, after all. It wasn't Sadducees and Pharisees that Jesus hung out with, was it? There weren't any Roman soldiers in his entourage, were there? And then there was Paul, Saul. Someone who was doing another group's bidding. And he encountered Jesus. Changed him forever. There's a lot more going on than just a simple shadow play of light and dark here. But I want those who perhaps are down the rabbit hole, checking out alien stuff and, you know, star bases and all that kind of stuff. If you've looked at documentaries about DIA, you know what I'm talking about. There's like this weird, like, ew, that's happening? Yeah, it's happening. But it ain't half as powerful as it used to be. It's making mistakes now. It's weaving where once it used to march lockstep. It's bleeding where once it had a scalpel in its hand. So, fear not, and be of good cheer. travel down those rabbit holes. Learn all about these nefarious groups. But please, for none of that time, don't hook into the fear that they're more powerful. It might appear that way. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. And, what I'm saying is that it may not be necessary for the general population, the good old GP, to ever learn about some of this stuff. They'll see the tracers and be satisfied with that. But for those who open up the lid and look in, I wanted to just lend my 2 cents, $25.52. So, take it for what it's worth. I think that we're all star beings. We're all star beings. This is a galactic endeavor. And this is a planet of free will. This is a planet in ascension status. This is a planet that has woken up to its ascension status. And there are enough human beings who are in full ascension status on this earth, holding geometrics, which stabilize this and promulgate the new energy. It's over for them. And I think that humans simply do things that are based in energetic, camps or feeling tones, and it feels so much better to be in the light, and that's why people just naturally come into it. It's the natural state. This other stuff isn't. It isn't. It's like a bad dream. It's like a nightmare that we're waking out of. We have the upper hand. I don't want to say that it's like a battle. It's more like, I think it was like a parent who's got their arms crossed. It's way after hours, like, really? And they're tapping their foot, smiling, looking with eyes of absolute love at their kid, who just is fascinated with their toys and their friends. And it's like, it'd be really great if we could go, come on, finish it up. And soon enough, child senses, oh, is Mommy here? And look, Mommy's here. And runs into Mommy's arms. Oh, baby, how have you been? And suddenly all the games that were played with the soldiers and the little, the little men and the wars and all of the make-believe stuff that was so vibrantly alive 2 seconds ago. Ah, Mommy, time to eat. Let's go have fun. It feels better. It feels better to be at a higher amperage or higher light quotient or clearer mind. It's the natural state, and there's enough holding it who've worked through the dark, who are holding the light. More mummies standing. Around the playground, smiling. knowing there's so much more for that kid now. All right. Hope that was helpful for you. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. All's well.